This is Dayglow, and you're watching Austin Underground.
Austin Underground.
Austin Underground.
Austin Underground.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Austin Underground. I'm Nick. Let's start the show off with some news. This month saw the induction of the newest members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The inductees included Depeche Mode, the Doobie Brothers, Whitney Houston, Nine Inch Nails, the Notorious B.I.G., and T-Rex. The ceremony saw performances by Diddy, Slash, Ringo Starr, and Alicia Keys in honor of the inductees. UK rapper Slow Tie has announced that his second full-length album is completed. This will be a follow-up to the rapper's critically acclaimed debut, Nothing Great About Britain. New wave band New Order has revealed plans for a release of a brand new concert film. The film will be a cinematic recording of their show at the Alexandra Palace in 2018. This month also saw the death of Chicago-based rapper King Vaughn. It's reported that King Vaughn was shot outside of an Atlanta hookah lounge. Atlanta police have already made an arrest in response to this. On a brighter note, a team of German scientists have reported that the risk of COVID spreading at concerts is between low and very low. This report follows an experiment conducted in August where a group of 1,900 volunteers attended a stadium concert. The researchers found that essential protocols to reproduce this low-risk scenario include following proper hygiene, pre-testing for COVID, and more than proper venue ventilation. Tonight, we have two really great guys here to discuss some of their hottest takes for you. Let's check it out. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Austin Underground. I'm Nick, and today we're going to be taking some hot takes. And with me today, I have Michael. And we're going to be giving each other some hot takes and then talking it out, seeing what we think about them. Let's do it. Michael, do you wanna start us out right now?
Yeah, okay. I'll start out with a little less controversial one. I think HMLTD's new album, well, relatively new album, West of Eden, has been really underrated and hasn't really gotten the right recognition that compared to a lot of other artists in their sphere.
I have heard of HMLTD. I don't know. I think that's a pretty good take to have. From what I've heard of them, they're a pretty strong band, and I'm not sure why they're not really breaking out from their own fan base. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that take. I'm not.
I guess maybe they're just a little niche because some of their songs, like even on the album, like "Why" is very weird, and it's not like the other music. And a lot of it gets kind of more instrumental on the album itself, as opposed to their EP, "Hate Music, Love, Delete," or I think I missed that title. That one is all just their standard punk songs. There's not really, or like post-punk songs. And in this new album, they have some songs that are like very experimental, even to their sound, which is already really out there.
Yeah. And to me, that seems like a fine thing for a post-punk band, because I feel like people are trying to gravitate more towards like the more experimental of like bands in this genre. So like,
yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure why they're not getting more recognition. Yeah, I agree with you. This is cool. All right. Are you ready for my first hot take?
I am definitely ready.
My hot take for you is I think that the album Jesus is King by Kanye West was actually a good album. I thought that even though it was basically a gospel album, I listened to it for like a good week and a half when it came out, and like really there were some bangers on there. Like it was a pretty solid album. And it's not like I was like, oh my god, like this is my favorite album ever, but it's like it wasn't terrible.
I'll be honest, I sat through a few songs and then I kind of quit. It
Mm.
was it's unhinged Kanye in a weird spot in his life where he's going through a lot of episodes. It's just really strange.
He is going through a lot of episodes. And I'm gonna ask you another question, sort of like an extra hot take on the Kanye topic.
All right.
How do you feel about his whole stance against like the music industry right now? How he's like sort of like unsigning people from his label and making sure they get more profits out of it, and he's sort of like he's championing himself as like, I'm going to save all you artists from like your contracts and all of this through like his Twitter rants. But do you think he's on the right side of music history right now, or do you think it's just part of his whole thing?
So the issue there is he is giving up a lot of his own money to give back artists their whole like their money or whatever he took away from them, because he was holding, I think, a lot of records from them, like royalties, but he's also very delusional in thinking that that's gonna change the music industry as a whole, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I I think you might be right there, because I know he was trying to call out like Universal and other different record labels like that, and there wasn't really much response to it because I don't think they thought that it garnered a response.
No
So
one's taking him seriously anymore, especially not
yeah,
this year.
yeah, which is kind of sad because he was at a point where he still is one of the most influential people in music.
I mean, Kids See Ghost came out only what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, yeah. Kanye. All right, go for it, Michael. Give me a hot take.
This is my Grammy one. The Weeknd is actually favored. His album After Hours is favored to win Album of the Year, and I couldn't agree less. Uh, it's a weird, just he's going full force towards like pop R&B rather than his standard R&B, and it's really weird, and it sounds not great in my opinion. There was one song I liked on the album, which was the single "Blinding Lights." I didn't really like anything else.
Yeah, I The Weeknd. I liked Blinding Lights. I thought that was a good single.
Mhm.
I think that if that wins a Grammy just by itself, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, me
But
too.
the album, it's just, I think,
It's bloated as well. It's pretty
yeah,
long.
yeah. I think he didn't, he didn't like, he didn't diversify it enough. I thought that every song sort of had the same like format and had the same sort of sound. And I was reading up on something where like it was like an analysis of like his his melodies, or like the way that he's singing in all of these songs, and it was like every single song he's singing at one tone, which was like a D throughout the entire song, and like maybe like not even just singing one note over and over again, which like I think there's a lot more albums that are probably going to be nominated for Grammys, which is what we're talking about in another segment later, that are definitely more deserving than After Hours.
Definitely.
But like if he wins it, I'm not gonna be mad. Like,
I mean, the Grammys are the Grammys, so I won't be bothered.
yeah, I won't be mad about it. It's pop music. It's nice. It's nice pop music to listen to on the radio 10 times in a row. But, you know, it's not like like folklore or like Harry Styles. I think those are way more deserving. But anyway, that's what we're talking about in another segment. Anyway, my next hot take. I think that the debut album Torches by Foster the People is the best example of pop excellence ever created, or at least in the 21st century.
I'm not going
That's
to
the
disagree.
album that has pumped up kicks.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
remember
disagree?
this. No, I'm not going to disagree. I
Oh,
listened to that whenever it came out. I don't even remember when it came out.
2011, I think.
That's what I was thinking. No, I listened to that a lot back in the day. That's a good album.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good songs on there.
Yeah, I think it just blended everything together about what made pop music of the past great and what made like pop electronic music of its time. It blended it together in a way that it was, at least for me, a perfect example of like, this is what pop music could be or can be, and I think it deserves it. But I think that's all the time we have for today. So thanks so much, Michael, for being on this little panel with me.
Of course.
And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Nick Butler signing off.
Hey guys, welcome back to Austin Underground. As you know, one of the biggest music award shows for the entire entertainment industry is the Grammys. And just because a global pandemic may be sweeping the nation and halting some live entertainment worldwide, doesn't mean that we can't still celebrate all the accolades of musicians and their creativity this year. Therefore, they are still hosting the Grammys set for January 31st, 2021. The nominations will be rolling out here pretty soon in early November, but before the official nominations have been made, we thought we would turn to some of our AU members to see what they think and who they want to see at the Grammys this year. Let's turn it over to Nick. Nick, who are you looking forward to seeing at the Grammys or hope to see on that ballot?
See, let me tell you, Aaron, I've been thinking about the Grammys a lot, and if I could put money on one artist that is going to be winning Album of the Year, I think it's going to be Taylor Swift. And I'll tell you why. Taylor Swift has been raking in the Grammys for years now. And the album that she put out this year, Folklore, is not only highly acclaimed with the critics, but it's more on the indie side with a lot of production from members of the National and Bon Iver. So
Often favorite.
it's really got everything that the Grammy judges are looking for in a not so pop album from a pop artist that they would just throw awards at. And I know that she's up against some stiff competition like The Weeknd. I know The Weeknd is a front runner for winning right now, but I think there's something about the album that makes it feel like it's something made for winning awards.
So basically an album that's going after the critical claim, maybe not the fan vote? I
think it was going for more critical acclaim, but and in part as to why it was released sort of as a surprise, which always seems to hype up critics even more. But as for fans, I think fans could have seen this coming, at least in a sense, ever since she moved from country to pop, and then from pop to more of like still pop, but like slowly getting more of like the alternative vibes with the constant production from Jack Antonoff.
AKA she's just becoming a 30-year-old woman.
Exactly. Yeah. And once she hits that stage, it's gotta hit the indie someday.
Yeah, I want to know, Caitlin, Tony, what do you think about this Taylor Swift prediction, and who do you think is a good runner-up for album and artist of the year?
So as much as I would love for Taylor to win Album of the Year, because I have been a lifelong Taylor Swift fan, I think her main competition is going to be Fine Line and Future Nostalgia. Both of those albums have not only great critical acclaim, but also like they were really widely loved amongst like the fan bases. And I feel like even people who don't typically listen to Dua Lipa or Harry Styles or Taylor Swift, like even they were like, these albums are really good. And I feel like that's something that the Grammys are looking for, kind of like transcending their typical audience into like broader people like that. And then like Nick was saying, I think After Hours is also going to be some stiff competition, because based off of the singles that I've heard from that album, it's been absolutely amazing.
I completely agree. This is a great year for pop music. Some people decided to bring disco back, such as Dua Lipa, The Weeknd, as seen with singles such as Blinding Lights, or even Don't Start Now, the famous TikTok dance song. And so when it comes to best album, I love Folklore. It was very different, very raw in emotion. I love Future Nostalgia, but another thing is Lady Gaga. We cannot go move on past 2020 without acknowledging Chromatica. And that was really, for me, the highlight of pop music in a long time. Since her last album, Joanne, she kind of did a flip-flop with Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift went from country to pop, and now Folklore, and Lady Gaga kind of went from pop to kind of experimenting with country with Joanne. But anyway, so yeah, and now she's back to pop. And so I think her, The Weeknd, Fine Line, Future Nostalgia are all great contenders, as well as Folklore for best album.
I think you're right, and I'm glad you brought up Lady Gaga. I was going to be angry if we went this whole conversation without talking about her, but it was a really good year for pop music. And I wanted to also piggyback off of how you briefly mentioned TikTok, because I think this will be an interesting year for like single of the year and stuff, because we saw so many artists blow up out of literally nowhere because 10 seconds of their song became catchy and famous on TikTok.
Doja Cat, for instance.
Exactly. And then some artists were really successful in riding the wave of that like one hit wonder and becoming artists off that. But the Grammy is kind of notorious for ignoring these new artists, especially in like hip hop and R&B. So I'm really interested to see, I don't know, how they address like TikTok stars and fame, because I think that was the entire like top 40 charts for the majority of COVID. Everyone's on TikTok and it's like controlling the youth. I don't know. Any works though, ladies and gents?
I think despite everything that happened this year, it was a fantastic year for music. Solid, very much people brought back what we all used to love before like 2019 and like 10 years ago in the 90s, disco and all that. So I think overall it was a great year for music.
I think there are a lot of new artists, and I hope that they get the recognition they deserve, like Doja Cat, Megan Thee and people like that, especially women of color. So hopefully the Grammys will recognize the impact that they've had recently.
Awesome. And Nick, any last closing thoughts?
I think that the Grammys will be backing whatever artist has been impacting the music industry so far, and if that is TikTok artists that have been topping the charts, then so be it, because it's hopefully they adapt with the rest of the world that's adapting to different music changes and music consumption.
Awesome. Well, guys, that is all the time we have for today, and those are our Grammy predictions. Make sure to follow us on all of our socials and send us your predictions as well. We'd love to see them and debate them. Until next time, guys. See ya.